Greetings, good evening, and welcome to another edition of Full Disclosure here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Terrence Baines, and we are so very thankful that we have been afforded yet another opportunity to have a program like this. We are confident that the program is useful, valuable, very educational, perhaps even inspirational at times. And we are very happy that we just have this privilege to come into your space wherever you join us from. Those of you that subscribe to this program, those of you who just look at Tobago Updates here in Tobago, Trinidad, the Caribbean, the US, wherever, on the moon for that matter, wherever you are, welcome and good night. We are going to have a very interesting discussion tonight. In fact, all the discussions are interesting, I dare say. Our guest tonight is the, shall I say, the vivacious Secretary for Education, Research and Technology, Secretary Zorisha Hackett. She's our guest tonight, and we are going to be talking stuff education. She's in a resplendent yellow. I don't know what it is, because the last show we had, Dr. Faith was on with us, and that was her first time, and she had a self-same yellow. And we don't know if they've been communicating secretly about, having this fashion statement of sorts, but we are so glad that she's here. And for us to engage in a conversation. Yes. Thank you so much for joining us, Secretary.
You are most welcome, colleague.
Yes.
It's my pleasure to be here. I think I'm your last guest of the group of assemblymen
well, no,
and councillors.
I think we're missing Assistant Secretary Megan Morrison.
Oh,
Megan,
so I thought
you are
I was
next.
last.
Megan, you are next. Yes. And we're happy to have you here.
You're welcome.
We know it's been a very interesting ride thus far, and we will get into all that conversation. But before we go there, I want to make this point. We have tried to have a show that, and while there is interaction on the live, we have tried to have a show that has a certain class, has a certain kind of quality.
And standard.
And standard.
Yes.
I have said it on more than one occasions, especially for those of you who are on the live. While we cannot control your comments, we have said that we expect that you would be respectful. The last show that we had, I saw a comment that disturbed me. It disturbed me to the point where I asked the management here, as from tonight, that any comment like that, the comment was so offensive. And I can only conclude that the person that made that comment is a despicable, disgusting, and almost a degenerate person to make a comment like that on a program of this nature. Wow. And you know yourself. And I'm just sorry I couldn't remember the name, whether it was a fake profile or not, so that we could
Most
put
likely.
it up on the screen and so that everybody could know. But what we have decided, and what I've spoken to the management about, any comment like that, we're going to delete it. And the individuals, we're doing our best to block you from the thing, because you have to have some kind of class about yourself. You have to have some respect for other people, even if you don't share the views that they have. So it doesn't matter whether you are a supporter of the program or you are anti the program and so on. Any person that makes any comment that is offensive, and we know what is offensive, we are going to delete them, and we are going to ultimately try and delete you as well, so that you will find some other place, find some other cesspool to dump your mess, but not on Full Disclosure, please. Yeah. Right? I wanted to say that, and so that everybody would be guided accordingly. And this is not to say that you can't make comments, and this is not to say at all that you have to agree with everything that we say either. But there must be some kind of line that you don't cross. There must be. Okay? So we want you to be mindful of that. So Secretary Hackett, welcome.
Sir.
Welcome to Full Disclosure.
Thank you for having me.
So happy
we attempted this several times before,
indeed,
and oh my gosh.
Indeed.
But I'm happy.
I'm
here.
Indeed. So current affairs. Last week we had an incident last week, and we are thankful to God that it was not catastrophic with the Cabo Star. We had not last week, week before, I believe.
Week before.
Yeah, you know, a fire on board and all that kind of stuff.
Nearing the end of this July-August vacation, when transporting goods and people between both islands is critical.
Indeed, indeed. And I mean, Dr. Faith was on and talking about the pulling together of all the various services to treat with the issue and so on.
She was there running around as well, managing that potential crisis, and we have to say thank God that it was not worse.
Indeed. So what I really wanted us to have a conversation about is, I saw a photo today, and I'm going to ask my friends in the engine room to put up the photo. This is a vessel, and I saw it on social media today, and there were various comments. The first person that posted said, this is the boat that is coming to replace the Cabo Star while it is on dry dock and all of that kind of stuff, to service the Tobago route.
Yes.
Many people commented that this can't be true. This can't.
People were in disbelief.
Yes.
You know, it's wow, total step backwards.
Indeed. I mean, that is our understatement. So what I did, I called one of the senior officials at the port. You may or may not know.
You went to fact check it.
Yes, I actually served on the port board a while back.
Okay.
So I called one of my former colleagues there to ask whether or not, to check the veracity of the thing.
Yes.
And the officer said, well, it resembled that. I mean, she did. It was an interesting answer, right? But subsequent to that, there was a press conference today, and I've asked them as well to just play some bits of the press conference, and then we'll begin the conversation about this substitute vessel. I want to hear how you feel about that. How should Tobagonians feel about that after we kind of hear what they're saying in the press conference and so on, right? So
coming back to Trinidad and things like that. It was quite a community effort. We really commended, and we are very, very grateful for the support. No, and the hotels as well played a part in providing accommodation for the passengers who were on board that vessel and requiring that support. So, where we know, the Cabo Star at the moment is alongside in Port of Spain, awaiting repairs to be completed to get back in service. Let's talk about the vessel itself in terms of where those repairs are. We are advised that the engine has been repaired. The engine has been repaired. The outstanding work to be done is the replacing of electrical cables that were affected by the heat. These cables have to be imported, they have to be brought in. The anticipated arrival of those cables is tomorrow. Technicians are already on site, have been brought in. They are actually on the vessel at the moment, awaiting these cables and doing other work in preparatory work. So we expect the cables coming in tomorrow, and we have been advised by the Bridgemans, the company who, the owner of the vessel, that the repairs should be complete by in 10 days. 10 days, 17th to 18th of September. That's our estimate. But be assured that the vessel will not go back.
All right. So Secretary, there was a press conference today to talk about the status of the Cabo Star. The engines have been repaired. They need to bring in some cables, which they expect to be in by tomorrow. And it will take them 10 days to do the work. Further on in the press conference, which I saw earlier, after they do the work, they have to go through a certification process to make sure that the vessel is seaworthy according to the rules and so on for it to. So we're looking at arguably another 3 weeks 2
to 3 weeks.
2 to 3
I want to be optimistic. Let's say 2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks, right?
Yes.
So, based on what the gentleman said, the picture that appeared that we showed before.
Did you confirm that that's the vessel?
Is
it?
Well, this picture, because the information said that the vessel was coming from Venezuela, and it says that the vessel is a landing craft kind of vessel, really, right? This was confirming the conversation that I had with the official this evening. So it is reasonable to conclude that this is the vessel that will be servicing.
With some upgrades,
well,
so when we see it,
right. So,
however, if this is what's there, this is what's circulating,
right,
and at first glance, this is the vessel. I am disappointed.
Yes, because I said to the officer, I was hoping that this is not.
You see the sea blast already laden on your vehicles coming, just looking at it.
So this is what they said. This is what they said to me, and also further on in the press conference, that that trucks and cars will be accommodated on the normal fast ferry, right? That this vessel is to treat primarily in the initial stages with the hardware material and that kind of stuff. So, but of course, the challenge with the trucks on the other ferry, the trucks have to be, there's a limited weight that they can carry, so they have to carry less goods and so on. Now, the material question in my mind is, we've been operating this service for quite some time. We could not predict an incident on the vessel and so on. But the issue of the certification is the one that is in my mind, because it seems as if the license or whatever license that the vessel needs to operate that license pretty much had expired.
Yes, it did.
This is not the first time something as this happened.
Nope.
I remember working at the port and so on, and we've had these incidents before. How do you feel now in 2023? You look at those images and so on, hearing what is said in the press conference, as a Tobagonian, I ain't even asking you now as a secretary, as a Tobagonian.
As if inter-island connectivity is not taken seriously. I want to speak to me being a teacher in about 2017 and following at that time the PDP's advocacy for dignity to be restored between Trinidad and Tobago's transportation. And I remember there being a protest in James Park, even before the infamous swim, calling on Tobagonians to stand up as a matter of urgency for us to call out the powers that be at that time to bring some dignity back to inter-island services, airport and on the port. And we're in 2023. I'm talking about 2017, 2018. Yeah. We're in 2023, and it's as if we've regressed. We've not progressed as a country as it relates to that, and it's only a reactive type of scenario we always end up with, and never a contingency plan. And so we had that almost on near disaster. And then we're here as Tobagonians waiting on something to happen. But it speaks to, of course, and we always have to say it's our autonomy. Yeah. It underlines, underscores, and highlights that.
Yes, that was one of my thoughts.
Yeah, because I mean, we're literally waiting on someone else to rescue us. This is what it all boils down to. And so seeing that image, I am like, are we in 2023?
Yeah, that vessel is 47 years old, you know.
From the time you watch it, you're feeling like you're done tetanus shots, all kind of thing you have to take before you go on this vessel.
Now, let me also say this too, and I want you to weigh in on this too. I want you to weigh in on this. When I asked the officer, I said, but how could you all conceive to have a vessel, when you compare what the Cabo Star done wasn't new already, but you know, good enough.
I think
how
that
do you compare?
If you have to pull a vessel from anywhere, it's going to be, in my opinion, a vessel that no one else wants, right? That's what you're going to have free. So let's be real.
Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, I am, as you said, how?
Yeah.
How, right? How?
But the point I wanted to make is, she said to me, because of the new procurement rules,
You can't.
right,
You have to take what
to
you get.
get a vessel similar to the Cabo Star was virtually impossible. And I said to myself, I still couldn't even buy that. I still couldn't even, honestly, I still could not buy that, because I'm thinking, if this is a matter of urgency for the powers that be, right? I am sure that there is a way that you could provide the kind of vessel that is supposed to service the route just as good or better. You can't provide something that's
That is why we have to be able to push the conversation
Yes.
of autonomy.
Yes.
So we
And I agree.
operate
I agree.
with dignity and pride as a Tobago people, and not have to wait on a handout.
Yeah.
You can't be what they say, you can't be a beggar and a chooser. This is what's happening here.
Wow.
Obviously.
Yes.
So we're in a position, take what you get, eat your biscuit, and
Yes.
hush your mouth. This is a typical case of
Yeah,
it.
yes. I wonder. I mean, there are some coincidences that are so acute, you know. As our theme tonight is the blue battle continues, you know, and we've been talking that we're in a fight.
Yes.
We're in a fight, and you almost now it is said that Bridgman, the company that owns the Cabo Star, came, that is what the was said in the press conference,
Yes.
came to our rescue and so on, and source a vessel
Right.
that will temporarily bring some temporary relief and so on. But you tell yourself, Bridgman cannot operate in a vacuum.
You
understand
sure
what I'm
this is the vessel? I still waiting for the Gatia
No.
moment, eh?
From all appearances, there is some accuracy with one, what was posted in terms of where the vessel was coming from,
Right.
and so on. As I said, when I spoke to the official,
the name
the
of the
response
vessel,
was
the
it
geotagging and
looked like that.
everything.
That is what she said to
Right.
me. It looked like that.
Right.
And then from the
I want
press,
to be optimistic. I feel when the vessel,
Yeah.
we're running away with this thing. It's probably
okay.
let me when
Okay.
it's supposed to get here.
Okay. Well, the from the press conference, they said by Saturday.
Okay.
Right.
Let's wait.
So
and
okay.
see, and keep
okay.
our fingers crossed.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay. But I agree with you.
Tobagonian and Saudi all feel about this
Yes,
vessel. It would be
yes.
really good to hear your
Yes,
comments,
indeed.
weighing on it, because today people memed the vessel.
Yes.
People shared it
Yes.
in disbelief.
Yes.
I looked at it and I was like, I'm waiting for the aha moment behind it, or the we got your moment, or people running away with something and not doing the fact checking.
yes.
So I am hoping that on Saturday, even if this is a vessel, this is a 10 years ago and they've upgraded it since,
No,
and
the
so
vessel
on.
47 years old. This particular vessel, right, is 47 years old, according to the report. But
Is
but
it seaworthy?
Eh?
I mean, I want to say it's soft. It's seaworthy. It's 47 years old.
well, it's
What-
sail. It is supposed to take 18 hours from wherever it was coming from in Venezuela to get to Port of Spain.
And I'm understanding that it may take 10 hours between Trinidad and Tobago.
Well, I started.
I'm
I mean,
hearing that
you know,
as well.
sometimes you don't want to over speculate.
Right.
No, the closest point of Venezuela to Trinidad is like about 6 miles, right? So, I mean, we know it's not the close. It's not,
Yeah.
but I'm thinking. I mean, while Venezuela is a large place,
If it's
say
18 hours.
18 hours from wherever it's coming from in Venezuela. All right. And I kind of telling myself, what kind of timeline we looking at from Port of Spain to Tobago and so on, because I didn't get that detail from the press conference today. But we will get all of that. We get all of it. But I agree with you.
Yes.
I agree with you that really all this that has been happening, and I wonder if there is some divine intervention in all that is happening. Sometimes you could see all the negatives happening and so on, but really
It's building up towards.
yeah, but
yes.
is it setting the stage? Because one of the conversations that Dr. Faith and I had in the last show was that to realize this autonomy, we need the entire Tobago population
to come on board.
You
And I
understand?
think that we've been having these really highly intellectual conversations about autonomy and not being able to show the relevance to the bread and butter issues,
Agreed.
the everyday issues.
Agreed.
And just like divine intervention,
Yes.
the actual issues we
Right.
face
Right.
because of the lack of self-actualization,
Yes.
you're seeing it. So you're able to actually say, and this is another reason why we
Right.
need autonomy.
Right. Right.
And this is, I think before, the conversation was being had in a vacuum, very abstract terms. And now we're having persons able to relate
Yes.
to the deficiencies
Yes.
in the Tobago space because of the lack thereof. And so I think, as you said, sometimes you need these as that stimulus
Yeah,
to be able to
yeah,
push persons towards that coming together collectively to demand our right to self-determination.
Because next thing I ask myself, no,
But look at this too, what happened with the air bridge recently?
Yes,
Now what happened
yes,
here?
yes,
It's all
yes,
lining
yes,
up.
yes, yes.
As you said, setting the stage
Yes.
for us as Tobagonians to come together
Indeed,
and build
indeed,
ourselves
indeed,
up
indeed,
and fight
indeed,
the
indeed.
similar fight
Indeed.
collectively.
You know, there is such a thing as political will. I always believe that if you have a will to get something done, you will find a way. The Port Authority is a creature of the government. This is not, you understand, it's not an independent agency. Except a matter like this, as it relates to the tram, is unimportant to the minister under whose purview the Port Authority falls. The minister has to know, I would think, what kind of vessel they're going to source and all that, and whether or not this vessel is user friendly for the Tobago bridge, whether or not this vessel represents the kind of dignity that we want to travel in and all of that, when you look at what we used to have. So I'm asking myself the question, right? Because it sounds as if Bridgeman unilaterally just went out, and that is how it sounds, but it can't be that.
Look at replacement.
You understand? It can't be that. So this speaks to my mind, even it deepens the conversation about that we have to find a way to do it for ourselves. We have to.
You have to be man in your own yard.
Yes, because these people seem to have no kind of concern
Take what you
for
get.
us in Tobago.
But I'm saying, let's
Yes.
wait for Saturday. I want we to jump out Saturday when the actual ship is here.
No, this is the pre-jump out here. This is the preview.
Yeah,
You understand? This is like a.
I am still waiting because
Yeah.
I can't believe. I'm telling you, I've been seeing the photo
Yes.
circulating on social media all
Yes.
day. Persons expressing their disdain and
Yes.
disappointment for
Yes.
it.
Yes.
And I am waiting for Saturday.
Right,
But
right.
we have to ready ourselves, because it's that type of ship today. Aircraft's not flying tomorrow.
Yes.
The conversation needs to
Yes.
remain consistent.
Yes.
Our autonomy comes
Yes.
first. Every issue we've had since we have, gotten into power here, office here, you realize that autonomy
Yes.
is the highlight
Sure,
of most
sure,
of the issues.
sure,
We
sure.
all come back to that same one common ground, autonomy.
Sure.
A lot of it is out of our hands as it relates
yeah,
to us getting
yeah,
the issues
yeah,
sorted, and
yes,
so that has to remain on the
yes,
front burner.
Yes.
Yeah?
I mean, there are some things that are instructive to the struggle now that were not there before.
Correct.
You understand?
You see
Um,
what Tobagonians are saying.
yes.
They're
and-
saying, let's wait to see before we judge. Next thing is the panorama that is on its way and not that boat.
So this is not Comedy Central, right? You
Yeah,
understand?
but-
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can understand people because I was in shock, and I
telling you.
told the official, I just could not believe. I hope you were wrong.
yeah.
You understand? No, and I was and the official called me back to ask me what I meant. You understand? So I said, well, I mean, I could not conceive that a vessel that we are accustomed to goes on dry dock, you have a replacement, but you find something so far removed in terms of standard, in terms of capacity, and all of that from what we are accustomed to. As if we just say, hey, and that is not, you remember, I don't know if you remember, there was a time when they use a badge. I don't know if you remember that time.
Yes, that was in the same period.
Yes,
when
yes,
the
yes.
swim occurred.
Yes.
A badge.
Yes.
As again, take what you
Yes,
get.
yes, Yes,
You know,
yes,
and
yes.
so again, we need to stand up as a people and demand some dignity
Yes.
with the way relationships between the
Yes.
both islands, the central governments, the view of
Yes,
us
yes.
for the right or the freedom of movement between Trinidad and Tobago. It's not a luxury.
Right.
It's actually a right
Indeed,
to move from
indeed,
one part of
indeed,
the
indeed.
country to the next, you know?
Yes.
And so it has always been that eternal struggle. Transportation and connectivity between Trinidad and Tobago. And so something has to give. What
agreed.
are we willing to do
Agreed.
to ensure that, you know, we don't have to subject ourselves to whatever we're given? And that should be the conversation. And this is where we put aside the politics. And as a Tobago people demand more. But the conversation needs to go towards autonomy. We're going to be having these conversations about what is meted out to us year in, year out,
Yes,
unless we
yes.
take the conversation from Scarborough to Port of Spain demanding this autonomy.
Agreed.
Yeah?
Agreed. Well, we'll push on. We're pushing on. So Secretary Zorisha Hackett, single mother of two, managing the division of
Tech. Education, research and
education,
technology.
research
Yes,
and
sir.
technology. I mean, I want to talk. I want to get your sense at this job, the wear and tear of the job, and so on. How do you manage?
Listen to me. You know what makes it a little harder? Let me say challenging, because I'm accepting the challenge. It's a challenge. You see that 6-6 period, you were in it with me
Yes.
and 4 others, when we were literally shut out of governance and we had so much time to spend on the ground in our electoral districts. And I fell in love with that. And then having to now juggle that, because all we had was our electoral district offices at that point in
Yes,
time, yeah?
yes.
And so we spend most of our time on the ground with the people. Some hours in the district office, but literally on the ground. We were in the height of COVID, and so we were out there doing the social work, getting the communities together, ensuring that the needs were met. And we had nothing, and we made it work. And then to be given this other portfolio as members of the Executive Council and having these demanding jobs in our divisions and having to balance that with being area representatives. I think that has been the most challenging, because our people have grown so accustomed to seeing us, being able to reach us, being able to, you know, have these joint moments where we do community bonding and so on. And then now your division is demanding of you as well to ensure that you're there leading. And so that balance between division and district, to me, has been most challenging, you know. But outside of that, I am actually accepting this role, growing in it, learning as we go. We've never been secretaries before. We literally got into this position where only the chief secretary, Mr. Duke and Dr. Faith, were members before, and of course in minority position. And so we all had to embrace this as a learning and growing on the job. And so I have been, you know, embracing the role as area representative, in my opinion, first, and as secretary, while trying to learn from mistakes, take constructive criticism, understand that politics is a game you have to have mettle for, you know, and growing from strength to strength with the experiences of the job. It's not an easy one,
Right.
but we have been called for a time such as this.
Indeed.
And so
Indeed.
you embrace it
Indeed.
as service to the
Right,
people.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
before you go into the service dimension, because there are some people that sometimes see us as meta humans, if I want to put it, enhanced humans, and I mean by that is as if we are not allowed humanity like everybody else,
Right.
as if we can't have a bad day, as if
Or express
we
emotions.
can't, you can't get
Yeah.
I understand. I understand that in leadership, you know, you are held to much higher standards.
Yes,
I
that's
understand
true.
all of that. The point that you made about the 6-6 era, and the connectivity that we developed there. Do you think that persons have not been weaned of that kind of relating
Yes.
to be able to effectively interact with the responsibility.
Let me
that you
tell
have.
you, we did an excellent job in that 6-6 period. The 6 of us who won our seats and the 6 who didn't remained on the ground.
That's true.
All 12 of us. And I think the people saw something they didn't see in a long while. Representatives. And really actually being the epitome of what representation should mean. And I think coming into this role and having to juggle between both, it is a difficult task. I remember within my first week or so, I tried to work out the schedule. I'm going to spend X amount of days in my district, X amount in my division. When I'm in my division, the district is saying, we're not seeing the assemblyman. When you're in the district, the division is saying, where is the secretary? And having to balance and trying to ensure that you fulfill the task of both portfolios, yeah? And I think that the hardest part has been having the people understand on both sides that you have to have this dichotomy of service, more or less. And so you're saying winning as in the people we represent, or,
No, I
or
said
us?
No, winning from the expectation
Right.
of you operating the same way.
Right.
When you have a different.
Yes,
okay,
I think it has been difficult.
Yeah.
I think because, as I said, we were so much on the ground, and the contrast was there.
Yeah.
The 6 that were holding on to power didn't spend time on the ground. They didn't. And we were there. And so persons held us to a really high standard, really high. And so I think that, yes, it has been difficult to win. And I don't even think that it should be a winning. It should be a better management of our time and ensuring that you remember.
Remember, the people will have an expectation.
They will.
Yes.
And I think that that expectation is there, and we can't change that. But I think finding a way to balance it, and them seeing us trying to balance it, while still ensuring that we maintain our mental health, time for our family, and so on. That overall balance is critical in this.
Yes, yes.
Because at the end of the day, the people put us there. And yes, you're telling them that you have the 2 portfolios and all of that, but the people need to feel as if, yes, you're busy, but you haven't forgotten us.
Right,
and this every now and again touching base. And having your district staff understand the role you also play in your division.
Right.
So they're holding the fort for you is critical. I think that kind of harmony of your staff, both division and district, as well as you having key persons looking out for you, holding the ground for you, is critical. It's only one Hackett, or it's only one Baines.
Yes. So do you find? I mean, you set up your office the best way you could.
Yes.
You empower your people to replicate your views and whatever.
Yeah.
But do you find, as I do, that and maybe other areas, that person still don't want to.
I know you was going to go there.
they
So let me
want-
give you a joke.
Yes.
You could train your district staff to know how to fill out forms, how to refer persons to the services of the Tobago House, everything.
Yes.
And sometimes they want you.
Yeah.
You.
Yeah.
So they call, you're unable to respond on a call. Let's say a staff member responds on your behalf. It's not you I want to talk to, you know.
Yes.
I want to talk to my area representative. I want to talk to my assemblyman. I want to talk to my secretary. So yes, the people want you. And so, again, understanding in that moment you may not have been able to answer the phone. So you have someone let them know you're not being ignored. Area rep or secretary is busy. But finding a way to reconnect, it has been challenging, because our districts really fell in love with us in that period. And again, the contrast was so stark that it made us stand out there.
Right.
But it is difficult. If I have to speak about the most difficult part of this, is maintaining how we had the ground in that 11-month period between January and December. Most difficult period. And let me let you know, I really enjoyed the area representative only experience.
Yeah.
But I understand the need for the executive council, because that's the thing, I had a contrast. When I was area representative only, you saw me more, but I was able to get less done for
That's
you.
true.
And
That's
now
true.
that I'm secretary, you're probably getting more, but you're
Yeah,
seeing me
see,
less.
yeah.
And that's the trade-off. The trade-off is, you know, You're there.
Yeah.
Whether you're in minority or we were in that 6-6. You could see me all day on the block with you. We're doing these clean-up campaigns. We have these charity initiatives going. But you saw me. But I'm writing letters to the Tobago House of Assembly to get a road paved or to get, you know, and you're not getting that. But I was there with you. And then now it's the reverse. You're getting the goods and services. You're getting the initiatives organized and so on, but I'm there less with you. And so that has been the challenge of it.
Let me dive a little deeper.
Yes, dive deep.
Dive a little deeper.
Dive deep.
I mean, I want to get back to the personal and the wear and tear of an assemblyman. You understand?
Yeah.
The impact, because when it goes negative, it does not just impact you, it impacts your entire family, and people can be very cruel. You understand?
So
what have you been able to protect your girls from the?
So let me give you the typical day when my daughters are around me, right? A typical school day. So I get up. By the time I take my phone up, I have a district chat. You probably have one too. And so you check that. Imagine that. You pray, but you check that first to see if anything happened over the night, if any resident wants to reach out to you, because from the time you start to get ready, you know, you have to put the phone down for a bit to get ready. So I check there and I respond to concerns in the chat. I get my girls ready. I have a driver. That's one of the things that I'm grateful for in this position. So I don't have to rush off on a daily basis with them to school. So the driver may take them to school. And then my day starts at the division. But while I'm there, if there are concerns in the district office, I have to have my staff there dealing with that. Some of the concerns would require me in person. And so you go between the meetings with your boards. You go between, because with the Division of Education, Research and Technology, you're responsible for the libraries. We're responsible for 57 schools. There are more than 57 schools on the island, but we're directly responsible for 57 of them. Tobago Hospitality and Tourism Institute, TITL, they're all under the purview of the Division of Education, Research and Technology. And on any given day, I made a joke with the videographer at the division. I want you to just tape my day, because you're moving from my boardroom to the conference room. You're moving to probably a unit or department to get something done. You may go to a school for a site visit. You come back, you sit with a board. You have these conversations with your heads. You have the emails to respond to. You may have interaction with the minister, in my case, right, of education. Then you have to attend to whatever is happening with your district. And your district, as I said, should never come second. You always try to maintain that balance with your district. And so you go between that. Some days you would know, we have files up to here. And because I have probably the most contract workers in the Tobago House of Assembly, the files are there for teachers, you know, for your actual officers in the division itself, your library staff and so on, there where your approval is necessary for someone to be reinstated or for someone to get pay or for something. You know how it goes. Yeah, and so you're there, putting all that energy there. A daughter may get home and is waiting upon mommy to come to read over an SBA, and she doesn't see mommy until she wakes up the next day. Another daughter probably can't come to stay over by you tonight. Her grandmother has to take her because you're in work till 8, 9, 10 in the night. And so when all the negatives come, especially because I have a teenager who is very much aware of what occurs on social media and so on, then you have to find a way now to express, you know, that you're there and protect the negative energies and so on. And then the younger one isn't seeing you as much, again, because of how time-consuming the job is. And so, yes, you're there now looking for some type of pastime. And I'm here as well being ambitious, pursuing another master's in all of this, you know. And so you pull back sometimes and you ask, do people really understand what's behind this job? I don't know if it looks glamorous. I don't know if
but
it
you
looks...
make it look glamorous. Carry on.
I could have been cutting grass on the side of the road. I would have made it look glamorous.
Yes,
it's just me.
But that's the point I was making. Yes.
But yes, we probably make the thing look good. I don't know, because it's so much. But I don't complain, because we all signed up for this. It's just finding a way, first and foremost, to also protect your mental health. I had moments where I had to unplug, literally just put down the phone for a bit and just do some introspection. Why was I called to do this? What is the purpose of this? how am I going to impact positively to the island of Tobago? Who am I going to be remembered as at the end of this? You only guaranteed this first 4 years. We don't know what will happen next. If it doesn't work out for me, how can I continue giving back to the people of Tobago? I see politicians get into this and they do so much in the office. And as soon as they're voted out, suddenly they fall out of love with the people and out of love with the island. And if you were truly vested in this island, then in or out, you should be giving of your service, you know? But mental health is extremely important. And as I said, I use the unplug method every now and again. And I just spend some time, you know, getting back into my why. Why did you get involved in this thing called politics? And it wasn't a lifelong dream for me like our chief secretary, who spoke it into existence as a teenager. I accidentally became a politician. I say it all the time. You just happen to be around the right people at the right time and the thing happened, you know? And so you take it one day at a time. We lean on each other's colleagues. You know, we have a really strong, that's one of the things I think that keeps us sane too, We have an extraordinary relationship as colleagues. We really are. And I think the matchup between secretaries and assistant secretaries is almost perfect. The personalities that go together and the fact that I can call you, right, in some down moments and ask you to pray for me. And then I have some sisters, we're all different in personality, but we can depend on each other when things get really tough. And then of course we're inspired by our interim political leader and chief secretary. This is a young man, probably the youngest in the rush, you know. Our leader, younger than probably only Boris. Probably only Boris is younger than him. But he is, something about him just keeps us connected and keeps us going.
That's so true. I mean, there are some leadership traits that one inspires and encourages. You understand? It engenders a kind of solidarity that is second to none.
Correct.
You understand?
And we had some really tough times, as you know. He and I have been placed under the microscope in the last couple of months, and the ability to stand up and step out into a room with his head held high.
Indeed.
You know, gives you that energy too.
I don't know. And I really believe that there is a grace that is bestowed upon leaders in whether governmental or otherwise. There's a grace that is there to help, especially when those moments are so beyond you. They are outside of your of the aegis of your power. You understand?
Let me tell you one moment that stands out for me. When we did that press briefing to deal with, I'm calling it AudioGate, and he stood. I mean, it could have been a moment when other persons could have spoken, and he stood in front like a captain with an army behind and protected us all. You know, from the onslaught of negativity. I looked at him. I mean, we look at him, you know, we revere and, you know, we celebrate his ability to inspire and so on. But that period, every now and again when I see them using that, a little clip from it in the news briefings and so on, and I look at him standing there like a battle-worn captain with your troops behind, protecting. He was the only one who spoke. And spoke with grace and spoke with authority. I'm leading this team, and it's not a team, it's my family. And to come through them, you have to come through me. I really respected that moment. It's one of the moments that stand out to me.
Sure. I mean, you know,
how has it been for you? Because you've been the interviewer in this entire session, and no one has interviewed you. How challenging has it been for you, especially having to manage the fact that you're a bishop and you're a politician, and some persons think that it's paradoxical. You know,
it's not. It's I am an enigma to a lot of people. I made the.
Was it a difficult decision, knowing what would come, a pastime politics? Was it difficult?
Well, the thing is that we operate in a cultural space. I mean, I have been in and around the politics for quite some time.
Yes, I remember when you were senator for a bit.
But I've been involved since about 2006. Thereabout. And my first tour of duty, if I could call it that, on the hustings was in support of then Pastor Casey at the time was running for Tobago West. That is way back. That could be about 2006, somewhere there about. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Somebody, but just in support. I mean, and I remember a gentleman stood by and he said to me, Pastor, you're sure you know what you're going to do? You sure you know? Because when you step out there, you're not coming back. I mean, I didn't understand, the aura, the movement, and all that kind of stuff. And so said.
I remember when you screened in for the January 2021 election and became the candidate. I was like, Pastor Shawboy?
Yeah.
This Pastor Shaw?
Yeah.
Because the social constructs
Yeah.
is as if you can't mix them.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know? And persons probably looked at it like, what you're doing here is not the place for you.
No, you see, church. The churches, we are corrosively traditional in and around the church. There are some views that we hold in church, and when I say church, I mean I come from a predominant Pentecostal experience, so I know we are anti. We don't like this cross pollination.
That's the terminology for it.
Right.
Cross-pollination.
So, you can't. These are two. It's like oil and water. They are not good bedfellows.
Fish and fowl. You can't be fish and fowl.
They're not good bedfellows.
Right.
And so on. So, I confess that I have some of the relationships that I used to have have kind of gone into stasis. And I know it. So people in the church will say, listen, we really don't want you all to be in no politics, but if you have to be in politics, go by the PNM. Go by the PNM.
People told you that?
Yes. People.
What?
Not in so many words. Not in so many, but most people around church, especially the Pentecostal church, most people around the Pentecostal church who engage in political activity and who support a political party are prone to support the PNM. I don't really have a problem with that. In principle, I don't have a problem with that, really. I don't, because you have a right to join and support who you want to support. The problem I have is when you become very abusive verbally and
when someone makes the alternative choice.
Yes. That has been my challenge. But I have kind of made up in my mind. I am a 60-year-old man, and if you don't know what you ought to contribute by now, you need to jump out from this world and find something else to do. You understand? I mean, I didn't start this journey at this age, but I was clear that my responsibility is to try and improve the environment in which I live. Okay. That I am on the earth not just to be a statistic. I am on the earth. I have been gifted with certain abilities, and that is to use to assist others.
Right.
And I started out doing radio. Doing talk radio and so on.
And I remember you told me the story of how you ended up there.
Yeah. You understand? And it gave me a sense of trying to investigate what really going on in the communities and some of the challenges that people facing
current
and so on.
issues and
so on.
Yes,
and that may have laid the foundation for all this stuff. But suffice it to say that I am, as the chief secretary said, that he made this comment and I keep it as my own. I am comfortable in the castle of my skin. You understand?
Yes.
And in what I am doing, I believe I am making a contribution. At the end of the thing, really is I and God got to sort that out.
Yes.
You understand? I really can't depend too much on the opinions of people because those things change very rapidly.
Correct.
Right? And I think that that we have to do what we have to do. And we have to contribute. I think people have a higher expectation of me. Some people who call, they say they call this one, they say no, they will get you when they call me.
Sure.
Why? Because I am a pastor. You understand what I'm saying? So before you even have a chance to hear what they have to say, they load you up with all this pressure.
The expectations.
You understand?
Yeah.
But I think that the job itself is a very useful and a prestigious kind of job. And when I say prestigious, I don't mean loft. I don't mean like we act like the Joneses. I think it is something that is so necessary in the earth.
Yeah.
Right? I also believe that this kind of work is ordained and also blessed, empowered by God as well. I believe that. I tell people the best way to appreciate politics and to appreciate governance is to imagine living in the place without it.
Correct. Yeah, for real.
You understand?
Yeah, we complain about it all the time, but
Yes,
imagine
yes,
with
yes, yes.
a space without it.
Yes,
Yeah?
yes. So, I mean, let's go a little further.
You have
know.
me on here tonight, you could ask me what you want, I'm fine, you're playing, go and shy with me.
What kind of
Right?
thing is this?
Yes, ask me questions, man.
So, I mean, I was really interested in how, you manage on a
Yeah,
personal level.
It's tough.
Because I think that is a critical thing, and sometimes people may not be sensitive to it because
Yeah,
sometimes we go about our affairs.
Let me give you an
yes.
example. I got home really late last night, almost midnight. And my 7-year-old daughter was by her grandmother waiting for me to pick her up. And when it got to a certain time, I had to call Granny. Granny, 10 looking. And she cried herself to sleep. And there are many nights like that.
Yeah.
Now, there is a strong support system around my children, I must admit, but nothing replaces mommy.
Yeah.
And so you wake up, you run over there to grandmother's house, you try to dress her and take her to school to make up. But we have to be very mindful that our lives are going while we're fulfilling the service to the people. And so we have to ensure, again, balance. Because you don't want at the same time, while you're giving of yourself to the people, you're losing your children. You're losing your family relationships. You're losing your marriages. You're losing you. And that's another thing we have to be careful of, that we don't lose ourselves in this. I've seen people really, really transformed for the negative out of this. So any type of service, because you're giving so much and you're not putting back in. And I think that's critical. And we have to look out for each other. Look out. We have to, as a team, we have to look out for each other. Let me tell you one thing that has happened though. More persons have reached out to me to tell me they're praying for me. I get that from all walks of life. People, they don't know you.
Right.
Keep fighting, Don't get distracted, I'm praying for you. All the churches in my community, even if you can't attend, we pray for you. I have persons sending you Zoom links on a Saturday night to join a Zoom on a Sunday morning, and they're praying for you. Complete strangers. Don't give up the fight. And that type of encouragement keeps you grounded. Keeps you sane. Keeps you collected. And so I must. Strangers. I went somewhere down at the airport about a week or so ago. A complete stranger stopped the car, come out. I always seen you on TV. You're really pretty and true, boy. Don't let it fight. Don't let it fight you down. Don't take them on. We're praying for you. Things like that. Complete strangers. Complete strangers. And so I think that is required as well to strengthen you for the battle. You're calling it what, the blue battle?
Yeah,
strengthen you for it.
The blue battle.
It's not easy.
It continues.
It's it's not easy.
Listen, we
taking
need
a break now?
Yeah, we're going to take a little break. We'll take a break and we'll be back. And we want to say, like Julian and them not say in the morning time, share the light, right? But stay there, don't go away, and we'll be back shortly.
Mount Pleasant Credit Union Back to School Loan Promotion. Loans up to $15,000. Requirements: job letter and a payslip no more than 1 month old. Utility bill, copy of book list, salary deduction, 10% down payment. For self-employed persons, evidence of income and expenditure, bank statement, 12 to 18 months. Other supporting document. Promotion ends October 18. Contact us at 639-8375 or 8108 or check us out on www.mpcutobago.com or email us at loan@mpcutobago.com. Mount Pleasant Credit Union's Back to School Loan Promotion.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your nice can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry, if your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, if sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry, if times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you. Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Jimmy's Holiday Resorts has 1, 2, and 3 bedroom, fully self-contained apartments located at the heart of Crown Point. Minutes walk to the popular beaches, restaurants, bars, and the airport. Enjoy our amazing amenities such as fully equipped apartments, complete with Wi-Fi, AC, TV, and a pool, and a mini-mart on the compound. Call 639-8292 or 8929. Jimmy's Holiday Resorts is your family's home away from home.
Wait, I don't even have suit and thing for this wedding. Why getting them things?
Well, the Portmore right over there.
Alright, thanks.
The Portmore, where the varieties are large from your favorite stores, from restaurants to salons and from clothing stores to jewelry stores, located at Sangsas Hill, Scarborough, Tobago. Telephone number is 868-334-6589.
Wow. I didn't expect to see you here. Look good.
Thanks. It's all because of you and Portmore. But here now, I'm going to our wedding. You want to join me?
Yeah, that's okay.
Alright.
Beat the rush and come on down to the Portmore.
There's a new date for Tobago Swim Fest, September 17th, 2023. Come and witness the main event, the 4-kilometer swim from Pigeon Point to Buku Point. More than $25,000 in prizes. It's a family affair, so come out from 11 a.m. on the beautiful Buku Beach. There'll be swimming races, sandcastle building, and seafood on sale. Come and enjoy a fun day at the beach. Calling swimmers from Crown Point to Charlottesville. Registration on the day.
Welcome back. This is Full Disclosure here on Tobago Updates in the beautiful island of Tobago. And I am speaking with the undauntable, that's how you pronounce that word? Yes, the undauntable Secretary Zorisha Hackett, who is the Secretary for Education, Research and Technology. If I keep saying it, I will get.
Yeah, you would.
You understand? And we've been just talking about her journey thus far and so on, and we taking the conversation a little further. A few of the officials have had the unfortunate experience of the police coming to their homes and places of work and so on. With warrants and those kinds of things. We have ventilated and prosecuted the approach to those things and so on. And we know that those things, jurisprudence will come front and center
For sure.
where that is concerned.
Yes.
But I just wanted to briefly, and whatever you can share with us regarding your experience of having to do this as secretary.
Let me tell you, straight out of the movies, Real.
Yes.
You ask who is it?
Yes.
They
Government
don't
boots.
answer.
Yeah.
You hear it again, and when you go to 6-7 out there, paper in their hand, come to search your home. I have my dad staying with me now in this time, and he's there alarmed. What is happening? eyes welling up with water. What is, what is happening with you? And in between trying to explain to him and explain to the police, because they have warrants with messed up information on it. Messed up craziness.
Yes.
Hired to do this, you're the area, but you're
we- yeah,
hired.
we-
Madness.
Yes.
And so they come into your home and they ask about the home. Is this your home? What is the area you spend most times in the home, your area, where your personal items are and so on. And they ask you to show around the property. And I remember that day clearly. I was getting ready for work, and so into my bedroom they came and they searched every drawer. They asked me, what's this room? What's in there? This is the bathroom connected there. Every drawer, every cupboard, every underwear and all. And I'm asking, I had my phone in my hand. What are you searching for? Evidence that, so they went through every diary I had, every receipt book, every, all my births, everything, just everything you have as your personal property. And at the end of it, I had the phone in my hand, and, we have to take the phone. I asked if I could take a photo of the warrant to send to my lawyer.
Sure.
Because I knew then after, there would be no way to be able to record.
Right.
I asked for names, I asked, badge numbers and so on, recorded that. And right after sending, they took the phone. Before leaving, they asked me for the password for the phone. And I said, I'll have to speak to my lawyer about that.
Right.
And so they left. We were in the house, so I knew it was a Tuesday because we went to the house the Wednesday, and that's when the chief secretary made the statement and revealed, the whistleblowers, taping that he didn't know he was being taped, but all of that.
Right.
And while I was there, I got a message from another colleague that they're at the division and they're taking everything from your office at the moment, files, executive council notes, diaries, and so on. And after that sitting, I went back into the division and met almost an empty office, So all now, if you come in my office now, it's as if, empty shelves and so on. I don't have a computer, a laptop, a tablet. They have all taken them since when? Late July, early August. And
you ever thought that data mining taking place?
Listen to me. I walked back into that office and I was like, but I wasn't even here. So who did they read the thing to and so on and found out?
Right.
Because it's the property of the division, the administrator to let them in and so on. And when I looked at my staff, the face, you had the persons there looking at me like, are you okay, secretary? Then you had them looking traumatized, the other group of, it was really horrible. And I was like, wow, biggest test of my life, And about 2 or so weeks later, again home, door knocked, served again warrants to get passcodes, and they're asking for email, password, they're asking for password for all the social media apps, so WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and they're asking for the passwords to actually get into the phone, the laptop, the tablet, and the actual computer, and I am like, again, the warrant was written, first of all, they didn't spell my name correctly. And then even how they described what they were looking for, inaccurate, semantically just all over the place. And again, I called a lawyer, and lawyer told me how to proceed. And I proceeded accordingly. And within 2 days came again. You failed to do this, so you have to go to be fingerprinted and so on. That happened on a Friday. We launched the Sunday. And probably the Thursday or Friday of the following week, you started to hear the media saying I was arrested and charged. That happened the week before. But of course, they got the information later, I don't know who leaked it or so. And I was just there like, wow, arrested, charged. And you had all the negative commentary. The media has to do what the media has to do. And sensationalism has become the order of the day. The likes and the shares and so on means a lot to them, and
I
so
still feel
they do what they have to do.
That these things, some of these things should have consequence, they will eventually.
So we wouldn't talk about that. Things are in the making, But
Because
I'm
I just
telling you,
try
it's
to
almost
imagine.
like straight out at telling you, look at these things low and all
Yeah,
that, and
yeah,
these shows,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, while they're looking in my underwear drawer, I'm like, go in there.
Yeah, you
the voice
understand?
recording in there.
Yeah, yeah,
What-
yeah.
what- you know what I mean? Like you're searching.
I try to conceptualize, reconcile. Perhaps is a better word. How you feel as a public official, or you feel as an individual.
No, let me tell you,
Yeah.
no public official is above the law.
Agreed,
And
agreed,
Listen, I
agreed.
respect the law.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
What kind of made me even more, disgusted by it was the events that occurred thereafter. When we found out about these screenshots of
Yes.
who was in the background telling who,
Yes.
find more damning information on them. This
Yes,
is not,
yes, yes,
I want
yes,
it on a
yes.
monthly basis.
Yes, yes.
And all these conversations that made it seem.
and you know one of the things that irks me, and to this day it bothers me, is that you will think that those revelations will get the same kind of
Energy.
energy.
Yeah.
They will get the same kind of publicity.
How would they
You will
though?
think,
How would they? If you're
You
batting
understand?
for the same team, how
Yeah.
would they?
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It makes me look at this thing that we went to Magdalena on the 9th of December 2021 and we were there swearing our hands up, oath of office. And we proceeded to Assembly Legislature and we voted for the presiding officer, then the chief secretary, the deputy chief secretary, and we had that function. And by the 10th, we were back at number 1 Jerningham Street, swearing in oaths of office now for secretaries and assistant secretaries. And while we were there in those two functions, these people, I say Dr. Faith, let's call them the Red Devils. The Red Devils had begun their machinery of trying to bring down this government.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
at day one.
Yeah.
It was at
Yeah,
day
yeah,
one,
yeah,
orchestrated.
yeah.
You
But
understand? Plot to
yes.
destabilize
Sure,
from day
sure,
one. Because when
sure.
you see the type of effort
Yeah.
that has gone into it,
Yeah.
and I think that you see this mantra we went into the elections with and so on, to a coalition of the competent and the willing, and we had this really naive, I'm calling it that now, innocent, we've won and now we can come together and have a kumbaya moment.
Yeah.
We're putting down the political colors and
Yes,
banners and
yeah.
coming together as one, united under probably the blue, yellow and green of the THA flag and all of that.
Yeah.
We failed to recognize that those people out of power
Yeah.
are more deadly, dangerous,
Yeah.
yeah,
But
than in.
Secretary, I am, and I guess it is because of my faith that I believe that we are at this juncture, we are in the corridors of power because God will have it
Right.
so. I believe that without
Right. And you
without
think that just like Job,
Yeah.
all of these are tests to strengthen us?
Well, not necessarily. I just
I thought you
saying-
was carrying me down the road.
No. I'm just saying that because of that, God has a responsibility to protect the government.
Okay.
Now, I also believe that He is set up and He is pulled down.
Right.
So there are some things that are hidden. There are some things that are done in secret that we are oblivious of.
Right.
But they eventually come to light.
Yes, they do.
You understand?
They do.
So I think because we are focused on the work.
Yes.
And
Because that's the next thing,
yeah.
We went through a series of tests from the resignation from the PDP. Listen,
Yes.
it has been a whirlwind from,
Indeed.
around August 2022 to now, From the resignation from the PDP to being in this state of being independent, to then having the people form a political organization and say, yes, listen, all come under this umbrella. All you out there in the rain, come under. And we having all of that noise and chaos and disturbance and disruption, remain focused.
Sure.
Listen, I have seen secretaries buckle down,
Yeah.
blinders on.
Yeah.
Yeah?
And you know
Focus.
when I talk about the blue battle, I'm not talking about burning tires and physical work of antagonism and so on.
No.
I'm talking about the response of this team in this fight
Yes,
is to
correct.
continue to do the government work.
And I think that's the part that does bother them.
Yeah, you understand?
I think about the kinds of advocacy.
Yes.
When we go to exec council and you hear area reps almost battling for their districts, you know, with passion and fervor. A Warmy road fix and see you coming, Secretary James, my road next, and you know, these types of things. And then battling as well outside of the districts for the divisions and the fact that we have this limited resource at 300 million to share up amongst us, TP. And when I get a 33 million in education, but your school repairs is a 42, and you have to send students abroad amounting to a 12 and a 13 mil, and then your school feeding caterers asking there, and I'm coming with my case to advocate strongly for my division, but then you coming with yours, and infrastructure coming, and health coming, and tourism coming, and we're there. We don't have time to fight up with what's happening out there. And I think that that is one of the things that bothers them most. That this was meant to distract us. We spent 4 years, helter-skelter, running up and down, out in a fire here, responding to that there, and being so distracted that the 4 years ends and the narrative is sold to the people. You see? Good house, you was in good house, and bad house call you. And why take the devil you ain't know for the one you know all these things. Come back to the safe and loving. And I could done see the campaign slogan already. Come back to the safe and loving arms of the who. Me ain't even calling their name. Right? Create the chaos and the confusion, chuck it here, tell a man come here, and I go give you this if you give me it on a monthly basis. And if it's not that, it's something else, fake profiles, galore, and just noise in the space. And this is meant to distract us. Right?
And you know, organizations have crumbled for less.
Crumbled for less. You know, we're not at 2 years yet, right?
No,
I'm aware. And shy of 2 years, we have been through so much. Think about it.
Indeed.
And I appreciate the strengthening because 2025 is going to be the deciding mother of all elections and re-election. This is going to be the matriarch of all elections.
I don't think that.
You don't even think that far?
I don't think that far.
You ain't ready in yourself for it? Mentally and physically and so on?
When I say that, my philosophy on life, I get up in the morning, I give God thanks for the day, I do what I can do for that day, you understand? And it don't mean that I'm not concerned about what the future, but I have no control over stuff. I've seen things change,
but you could ready yourself.
I was born ready. You understand what I'm saying?
Understood.
Right.
But I think that, you know, we are in, I think the Chief Secretary said it, a position where only about 1-2% of your population would ever be in. And it's a sacred position to be in. And you have to appreciate the fact that the people put you there. And God covers you in this position. And you have this period to serve. And serve you must. And serve well you must. And so while you're there, especially if they were there before you, see if you wasn't there before, you don't know what it's about. But you see for those who were there for 21 or so years, and they're seeing the things they didn't get to do being done, and they're seeing the passion and the sense of purpose from this team, it is going to be envious. Enviable.
Listen, we could talk the whole night, but listen, let's talk about school repairs. Every time, every year, and I know people get very iffy and antsy and antagonistic at times, and the comments come, you know, there's a bombardment from different places about school repairs and so on. What has happened this year?
Because education is important to all of us. And don't feel no how, but I'm telling you, if you say this community center can't open tomorrow, we've had some challenges and we're pushing back the work a bit and so on, people will forgive that more than me coming to say, this school can't open tomorrow.
Well, certainly.
Certainly. And so the focus, and it's a year-round focus, but it becomes very acute this September morning. Parents organize themselves all July, August. You organize the uniforms and the books and so on, and you expect that whether it's your ministry in Trinidad or your division in Tobago, have your schools ready. And so it's always going to be like this. Even if with the 57 plants, one doesn't open, you're going to have a challenge because you expect that it's the responsibility of the THA and the Division of Education, Research and Technology, more specifically, to have these learning institutions ready. And so I appreciate it. I was a teacher myself, well, I should say am. And we know how we felt looking forward to a September morning. And you usually, as teachers, go to school the Thursday and the Friday before and get your space ready and put yourself back in that frame of mind for a new term. And you want to come back out seeing the issues you had in July, that they would have been rectified by September, yeah? And so you go into this as leader of the division very optimistic. And you go in ensuring that you have this checklist of what you need to do, and you're hoping that all goes well. You keep your PIU, on their toes. You ensure that all is well with your procurement, and you ensure principles and so on express what is required while you build out your scopes and so on. But just like any other plan, anything else that a man or human being put their mind towards, there would always be the issues that you can't control. Some you could control, and then they may go awry, and then some that's totally out of your control.
So with you would have a game plan. You have a game plan.
You do. And the game plan...
You reference from last year. Right. We didn't have this new procurement rules, right, as that is now law. Talk about the correlation of the rules and the impact on the preparation of the plans.
Last year, coming out of COVID, so last year was the critical year. Plants down for 2 years or so, no routine maintenance, and so we knew we opened initially February for SCA students. Form 5s went out a little before, like November of the previous year, 4 and 5. February for Standard 5, and by April, term 3, we opened for everyone. And we started seeing the issues then. I mean, in that period, it was difficult to try to do any major repair. So we just ensured furniture was there, and health and safety challenges were dealt with. So that July, August, we knew would have been the July, August where we expended most, and we had a lot of work to do. And that in itself, because of the complexity and the capacity, how much we had to get done, was extremely challenging. And so you look at that, coming out of it, and how much you had to do and so on. Even educating the public on getting on board the PCO, because we had our own pre-qualified list here in Tobago and so on. Contractors seeing a new administration, wanting to know, we've always seen particular contractors so come, and then you have to educate them, there's a procurement process, and contracts can't just be given to you. So a lot of education occurred in the districts. The divisions also put out, these more or less information packages to let people know you have to be registered with the PCO. And so after migrating, a lot of Tobagonians who didn't even know about the process and educating them. A year later, that process is now null and void. You have a migration occurring into the depository of the OPR, this national move towards procurement in a different direction. And so when we looked at how many contractors had come on board at the start of the repair program with all our plans and scopes and everything in, we saw challenges. We saw where you're going to have one contractor with as much as 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, because contractors will come in.
No, Secretary, this is something that you have to say slowly. I think what people do not appreciate, with the new procurement platform, right? Each individual contractor, service provider must register with this new procurement platform.
And it's very complicated.
It is not that we could have migrated all those that we had before.
That's one of the areas we try to, push towards. If we had a well-working system here in the THA, right? Could there be some kind of migration? That's
but I know that was something that was raised, and we were told it could not. So the point is that
everybody was on their own. It's like a starting from scratch. You have to go back out there and get yourself.
And it has been a challenge for some of the service providers to register on the
really
OPR.
Complicated.
And you can't be considered for any contract if you're not registered on the OPR.
Let me tell you, we sat around a table and even considered, should we even have a school repair program? It became so complicated, persons not getting on. You have to train your procurement staff as well for what to look forward to, and this is a new system. It's brand new for everyone, and everybody had to become up to date with it, And so the conversation started being had around the table. Should we engage in a school repair program. We're about to, schools are about to close. This is the period, if you really want to get off the ground, is where you should, have your contractors there doing their site visits and so on, but you're not getting the number of contractors required for the plans. We had 51 schools to touch in this school repair with 64 packages, and that was conservative because we, of course, resources again, but because we only focused on the health and safety issues this year and didn't really go into the civil works and so on as we did last year. Yeah? And so looking at it, 2 persons joined today, 3 tomorrow, by the end of the week only 7, and the thing dragging along, and you're looking at the time progressing. You can't just walk around Tobago and say it's emergency, let's just give out contracts here and so on, right? You know how that goes.
Right.
And so the question came really seriously as a division. And then you would have had the other side of the thing. You don't have a school repair program and school open September and a railing fall down, or you have a public outcry for it. And so some critical decisions had to be made.
Listen, the time almost gone. But I want to ask you this: Is these issues surrounding school repairs endemic to Tobago alone?
Of course not. The same challenges I had as secretary and the division had, the minister and the ministry had. As a matter of fact, bombarding the news space, and Honorable Minister made reference to it early o'clock. She showed she had early. The Thursday or the Friday before, I already saw through press conference and so on, her expressing the fact that, right in front of her, 4 schools will not open. And several others would need repair works to continue on afternoons and on weekends throughout the term, And so I saw that, I was like, because you knew it would happen nationally. The challenge is not isolated in the Tobago space. It's a national challenge. And so when I saw that, and let me put a disclaimer, that's not an excuse for not being able to deliver. But there are some things you cannot control. I can't hold a hammer and a saw and go for myself, and I wish I could be superwoman and get out there and do it. But to follow the rules and ensure that the process is carried out in a legal way, you had to abide by the thing. And so we had the challenges nationally, and I saw the hypocritical red people and them up and down gallery in themselves, this and this and fence and go up and the gallery themselves, right? And I'm like, you're not saying that you have to hold yourself to the standard of Trinidad. I would have been real proud to run out here and say every school open Monday morning and feel good that something beyond the challenges occurred for us to manage the thing well. But if you're hearing it's national, and again, it's not an excuse, how can you say, I hear in the cry, secretary should resign and the car get right
but
all the
same
time,
issue
and all this
will occur in Trinidad as it relates to service providers registered on the OPR.
Of course, I am certain you saw the news articles. I've seen this Gasparillo Secondary. I saw some images of it really, and I'm telling you, there's no school in that state in Tobago. I can proudly say that we must admit and show appreciation for the things when they go well. We don't have schools in that condition. We have age plans. Scarborough Secondary School, for instance, is 62 years old, and for a 62-year-old plant with that location.
Just a little older than the boat coming from Venezuela. Carry on, sorry.
That school has always given some challenges, and we know at this point that we have to focus on the new plant because it's like a sick animal, a sick child. You're trying to medicate, and the more you medicate, the more you spend on. You understand? And so we have to find a way that while we balance maintaining the health and safety issues there, that we advocate and start putting our resources into this new school. We've had the challenge forever and ever. Amen.
Listen, Secretary, time almost gone.
We have 5 more minutes. We have time.
Time almost gone. But I want in the remaining time that we have. You like this work?
I love it. I love it. But can I admit something?
Yes, you can. I'm not.
Let me. And I'm saying it soft.
Yes.
Let me ask you something first. Did you or have you ever thought about if this was a separation of roles and responsibilities, which side you would have chosen? Like, for instance, if your party could be in power and you could choose to just be area rep, right? Or focus on being an executive member.
But
right?
That's an interesting question.
And which job you would have enjoyed more?
I think if it was well resourced, you understand, if it was well resourced
Because
and
I've
I mean
heard,
well-resourced.
I've heard persons
You
in this
know.
space, the intellects in this space,
Yeah.
speak to a governance structure where you have the area reps focus on being area reps. You're paid well and so on. You're given district funding and you're able to manage your districts.
Yeah.
And then you have the executive dealing with the governance structure, the actual executive council members, managing the divisions, and what benefits that would bring to the space. Because as I said before, that balance is critical.
Well, I think, I mean, we've heard that
Yeah.
conversation. When people campaign to represent a group of people, you also want that representation to go as far as the legislative agenda.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So I think ideally, if you could get the cake and eat it at the same time, that is the ideal place to be.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
I don't know. Some of the things, some of the ideas are ambitious.
Yes.
Risky too, dependent on the people in those things. Because there
Right.
are some people, you understand?
I think because the governance structure we've had almost went in the direction of if your party isn't in power, and if you don't have a seat at the executive council table, then you can't get things done in your district. And I think that's why persons have always, admired and pushed towards this whole being a secretary. Because but if this governance structure worked in the way I think it could have worked, you as an area representative could have really worked for your people and gotten things done. But we have to, as a people, and probably while we're pushing towards autonomy, we can look at alternative styles of governance where you can actually be able legislatively to represent your people, even if you're not an executive member. And I think that's where the conversation also needs to go in modern politics.
Indeed.
Yeah?
Listen, we out of time.
How?
That's the thing. We out of time.
We have 2 minutes.
We out of time, but you not easy. We out of time. But listen,
we have 2 minutes.
I would just like you to take 60 seconds. Look into that camera over there.
Really?
Yes, and speak to to your colleagues, and secondly to the people of Tobago, as in your capacity as Secretary for Education, we are moving towards making Tobago the greatest little island on the planet.
Tobago, let me let you all know where people say I'm extra. I think I'm very passionate about everything that I do. I've always been. Every move that I make is geared towards a greater goal. And I think that this job has really been a calling. It's, when you think about it and you think about 13 of us now, I'm calling us 13, and how we all ended up here. We had some passion. We had some deficiency that we were trying to rectify. We had some issue that we wanted to ensure that we can have a voice and that voice should be heard. And so when I look at my colleagues and what each of you is able to bring to the table and being led by this passionate young man who has found a way to keep us together as a team in spite of all the distractions, the noise and so on, I want Tobagonians to give us the opportunity to really deliver on those mandate areas. And the mandate wasn't people sit down in a room and come up with it. It's not a manifesto. That's what happens with a manifesto.
Yes.
It's a mandate, which means that whether you're TPP, your PTT, your TEA, the people gave that directive to you.
Right.
And so regardless of political color and so on, as representatives, we each have to fulfill what the people put us here to do.
Indeed.
And so I think that we've been doing a good job so far. We're open to the constructive criticism. We understand that we're learning in this. And I think Tobagonians, if they really, really question themselves, if they're reflective and introspective enough, they can admit that in under 2 years, they have received more deliverables, they have received better governance, they have received more astute and groundbreaking representation than they've ever received before. And so I want Tobagonians to give us the opportunity to serve them and to serve them with grace. And Tobagonians, I want to say that we love you. This team is your team. You've placed us here, and God is protecting us in this position. And so we look forward to continuing on our quest to make Tobago The greatest.
Well,
It's an island.
I could say that. The time is up. Before I go very quickly, I want to commend those that have been on the live tonight. You've been very responsible.
They have been?
Yes. For the most part, it seems like the
Fake profiles, take a break
well,
tonight.
I don't know. It seems like the indisciplined despots did not show up tonight, thankfully, right? But thank you. It's been another fantastic show. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Secretary, for being
You're
with us tonight.
welcome.
And again,
Tomorrow is World Literacy Day. I want people to go to a school and read.
Yes.
Read for school. Read for school tomorrow.
Okay.
Read. I want to see videos up. Get out there. Read for some young people. Share videos of you reading. So you're going to see me promoting it all day tomorrow, but get out there. I'm trying to get to a school or two. I'm trying to get to the Happy Haven School or the School for the Deaf, one of them.
The time has gone. The time has gone.
But get out there.
Yes.
World Literacy Day.
So next week, God's willing, we shall be back here on Full Disclosure. Have a fantastic night. Be safe. God bless you. Talk to you soon.